Welcome everyone. I'm delighted to be able to be here. New grant round, new webinar, which is lovely. So I am going to move the slides on so you know who I am. I'm Chris Macdonald. I'm the head of research here at PC UK, and today we are going to be having a webinar on our launch of our new interdisciplinary treatment grant round. So we're really thrilled to be launching this new award. We're thrilled that it's coming from a super strategic place, and we think that it's really what our community of researchers, you as our community of researchers, really want, but also it should, prepare the world for more treatments in the future for people with pancreatic cancer. So we're thrilled to be able to talk about this today. What we'll try and cover in a session, it won't be too long. We'll just kind of go over some of the reasons why we're doing these awards, to allow you a greater sense of why we're doing the things that we're doing. We'll also be covering some of the key details of the award. The review process, it's slightly different, and so we'll probably just give you a little run through that and explain that. We'll do some of the frequently asked questions that we think might occur as a result of the of this particular grants round, and we'll do some Q&A towards the end as well. But as always, we like to begin with a little bit of housekeeping. If you do have questions, that's marvelous, but could you put them in the Q&A section? If you want to chat, that's also fine. Comments can go in the chat function, but please don't put questions in the chat or else you might not get your question answered, and don't chat in the Q&A because you'll be ignored. So bear that in mind. Recordings are available after we're done. It'll be uploaded onto the website and onto YouTube, so you can use them in your application development with your collaborators and with anyone else who wants to put in a proposal into the interdisciplinary treatment grants. And this will be a repeated refrain from me, is that before, during, and after, I want to say, please do get in touch. Like, the interdisciplinary treatment grants are new for us. We are really excited about them, but we're learning and as we're delivering as well. So we really want you to get in touch with us. We want you to feel that you have the opportunity to sense check the proposals and what you'll be potentially putting towards these grants. So at all stages and times and opportunities, please do get in touch with us and ask the questions, and we'll be more than willing, thrilled in fact, to be able to answer them and help you make sure that you have the most relevant proposals towards the interdisciplinary treatment grants. I might just start saying ITG, by the way, for short. So to begin with, we wanted to give you a bit of context of why we have developed these awards. So really, we wanted them to truly reflect the feedback that we were getting from you, the research community. And that's through the forum and various other strategic pieces of work that we've been doing out in the community, and combine that with the real patient need that is in front of us, and the fact that we have so few effective treatment options for people with pancreatic cancer currently. So there was a kind of 4 key reasons why we wanted to do this. So the first one is pancreatic cancer is an incredibly complex pathology. It's multi-component, changes over time, it's incredibly heterogeneous, and we often do siloed research in an area that is so complex that really silo work will never reflect the complexities and holistic nature that treatment will need to be for people with pancreatic cancer. We know that, and people with pancreatic cancer know that, but it's great that the research community know that as well. And through the forum and other means that I mentioned earlier, you have told us that you no longer, or would like to work less in your silos and work together in order to reflect the work that you're doing and make sure it is as holistic and representative of the condition and the kind of trajectory of the disease as possible. So really, we're trying to speed progress by getting people out of their silos and encouraging people to work more holistically in their outlook towards the treatment of pancreatic cancer. The second one is we have done lots in early detection. We have done our early detection grants round, and we've funded a great deal and had a great focus on early detection. It is incredibly important to people with pancreatic cancer that we detect pancreatic cancer sooner to give more treatment options. However, we will get to a place in a world where we have earlier detection for pancreatic cancer, but we can't be detecting people earlier and not giving them more genuinely effective, robust treatments for pancreatic cancer. So we must now start the work in order to develop the new treatments that will dovetail with a patient population that is more, that is earlier detected, to be able to really test and trial out new targets, new drugs, new approaches in 5 to 10 years, so we can really nail both detection and treatment. So we have to start the treatment work now, and this is why we're wanting to take this focus in parallel with our early detection work, and really get going in terms of treatments, specifically treatment research specifically as well. The third one is a little bit to do, and I have a little bit of a hobby horse with regard to the collaboration element. We see, and you have fed back to us, the frustration of maybe other collaborative schemes or bold challenges, should we say, from other research funders that require you to build a collaboration internationally, often in the space of 2 months, that will be rich enough to be able to progress £2.5 million worth of funding. We think that is that will not lead to the kind of rich, sustainable, mutually valuable, productive collaboration that we really want to see. So we have put these grants in place in order to allow you to truly foster long-standing, really productive collaborations. And the final one is that, like, multidisciplinary work is great. It's something that we have done in the past, and we may well do again. But we really want to see progress. We really want to see people coming together and to progress specific areas of problems. So we really want people to converge upon particular areas, particular challenges in the treatment of pancreatic cancer. So instead of we essentially are trying to draw you together on a common purpose and trying to converge thinking towards those progression that we need to see in this area. As such, what we want to be able to achieve with these awards is to support projects that kickstart or formalize existing collaborations. So not ones that are really well developed. We want to, if this is a kind of a starter for those collaborations to go on to bigger and better and longer standing and richer collaborations in the future. We want to enable teams to converge at the intersection between different fields and sectors and disciplines, because we know that you want to do that too. And we want to generate a more integrated and holistic understanding of how to effectively treat pancreatic cancer and reflect the complexity of the disease with more holistic approaches in terms of treatment research. So some of the key details, eligibility bits and pieces for the interdisciplinary treatment grants. So they're 330,000 for up to 3 years. We need a minimum of 2 PIs. You can have more PIs from different institutes, but we need a lead and a co-op or 2 co-leads from distinct disciplines, but with at least one of the PIs working in pancreatic cancer. I recognize that might be a confusing thing that I just said. Basically, one of the people that you have to work with has to have their feet firmly in the world of pancreatic cancer research, and that whomever you work with in whatever combinations that effectively progress your interdisciplinary treatment proposal, you have someone who's rooted in the expertise of pancreatic cancer research and is aware of its complexities of delivering within the research and clinical context. We're also asking really a minimum of pilot data to encourage pioneering and bold approaches. Like, we recognize that we can't be asking for really progressed pieces of work and collaborations when we're asking for people to build new networks and build those new collaborations at the same time. So really feel like that's also an opportunity. We really want to remove the bounds of pilot data and actually for you to think a bit more kind of not riskily, but yeah, like I say, bold approaches with interesting ideas that will only be answered through the interdisciplinary kind of research between distinct groups in pancreatic cancer. And I know this can be a little bit difficult, especially for more discovery-based, molecular focused research proposals to receive, but we need you to articulate a genuine line of sight towards impact in treatment. We believe that anyone can do this. In fact, any good researcher or proposal should have a line of sight towards the ultimate goal in improving the lives of pancreatic cancer or whatever condition type that you end up proposing in. I think we will be asking specifically on how this interdisciplinary proposal gets us towards progress in treatment either in the short or long term, we recognize that discovery research takes a long time to come through, but we need to do those steps in order to get there. We don't mind you being honest, but we need to know where you believe those steps will take you in the future. So always have that mind open to being to how you genuinely articulate that line of sight. Onto the review process. So the key theme here is that we've tried to give you lots of time, and we've tried to reduce the time between submission and award. So you'll see here that our interdisciplinary treatment grants open today, which is marvelous. And the submissions are actually on the 13th of June. So you have what I think I've worked out as 4.5 months, something like that, to be able to actually build your collaborations, your valuable, rich, genuine collaborations and interdisciplinary proposals. Again, we felt that this was absolutely necessary and appropriate. We couldn't be asking for you to develop such new collaborations, or to move like very kind of infant or kind of early stage collaborations to the place that we wanted to them be in terms of a proposal, without having given you the time to do so. It is kind of not appropriate to give you anything less than this time, in our opinion. So really, you've got an opportunity over a long period to work these up with the people that you hope to work with, or the people that you work with now, to be able to advance them into a proposal state. We're also another thing to kind of emphasize is we're bringing in a letter of intent step in this. So anytime in the 4.5 months between now and the submission date, you need to, well, yes, unfortunately, you need to put in a letter of intent. So I'll explain what a letter of intent is in a moment, because it sounds a bit scary, but don't worry, it's not. And then we've kind of streamlined our processes on reflection of our previous award schemes and our previous work, in order to make sure that we are taking, yes, a fair amount of time to externally review the applications, and then to be moderated through interview at panel stage. But we're not wanting to overburden that process, so you'll get your outcomes quicker than we maybe ordinarily have been doing in other grants of this kind of size. But the main one to kind of like focus on here in the review process is you've got loads of time. We want to give you and afford you the ability to generate those richer collaborations over a longer period of time. And you've got this great thing of the letter of intent in order to help you to focus and to align your work strategically to the interdisciplinary treatment grants. So moving on to what we think could be frequently asked questions, I suppose, for the ITGs. So I'm going to kind of cover a few, and like the obvious place to start, because I've been talking about them, is the letter of intent. And we believe this is really much more of an opportunity for you, rather than it should be something that would be seen as burdensome or a hoop to jump through. So this allows you to briefly, and we're saying 2 or 3 pages, to propose to us in the team here at PC UK what you would like to do, with no strings attached. Like, it doesn't commit you to anything. You don't have to keep with that proposal. You don't have to keep with that collaborator. You don't have to keep with that host institute. Whatever it is, you can come to us with initial ideas written in a letter of intent, and we will, as a team with you, have a meeting to strategically sense check what it is that you're doing. That gives you the steer and reassurance that you are aligning your proposal, your collaborations, the people that you're choosing to work with, the host institutes, the methodology and things like that, all those things. And you're getting that reassurance that this is the kind of strategic thing that we are looking for. So when you do the full application, it means that you don't have to worry that you're missing the mark in any way, shape, or form. It also is, I must say, tremendously reassuring for us to be able to work with the community in a development phase, so we can kind of give feedback, and we can more real time give steer in a new grant scheme, so we can feel that we are giving and imparting the information that we feel that you need to hear, and that you are getting the same from us as well. I'm sure it will lead to what I believe your best proposals you've ever written this process. I'm sure of that. But also, you kind of have to do this as well. So we don't give you the full application form until you've submitted a letter of intent. But trust me, it will be really good. It will be a really worthwhile, valuable process to do this. You could submit it any point during the 4.5 months. Obviously, the later that you leave it, the more the task that you're giving yourselves in order for proposal, but it really is open at any stage. So come to us at any point with a letter of intent, and we will have the dialogue with you. And I'm sure that you'll be able to write a much better proposal as a result of it. So that's the letter of intent. I think we kind of like wanted to kind of head this one off the pass. How are you defining treatment? Generally, quite broadly, we've kind of put them into three different buckets. So the first one is discovery research to identify and validate novel treatment targets. So this is building of knowledge of underlying biology of pancreatic cancer tumors and surrounding cells to discover new ways to target the tumor and the surrounding environment. Very much a discovery molecular kind of focus. The second kind of bucket or area is early phase research exploring and developing new potential therapies. So this is really about research that's building on the discovery of promising biological targets towards understanding initial therapeutic utility. And the last one is the discovery, clinical or applied approaches to optimize existing treatments. So generating the understanding of how current treatments such as surgery, chemotherapy or radiotherapy, or dare I say immunotherapy, can be more effective, increasing treatment response and decreasing side effects and improving quality of life for people with pancreatic cancer as well. So it is relatively broad. It can be all the way from early stage treatment. So, we're seeing cancer vaccines for KRAS and things like that, talking about prevention for people at particular at-risk groups and things like that. And we're seeing the fact that also metastatic disease is the common experience for most people with pancreatic cancer because of late detection. So we have to reflect the fact that treatment can be in all of those spectrum, from the earliest like genetic kind of changes that occur in the tumor, all the way through to full-blown metastatic disease with pancreatic cancer as the primary, as the pancreas as the primary. Like, we really do want people to feel that they can cover the full spectrum of what treatments are in pancreatic cancer. And we also want to be specific that we believe that the treatment of cachexia is also a treatment for pancreatic cancer. Cachexia is a wasting disease that often occurs in people with pancreatic cancer. In fact, it occurs very frequently in people with pancreatic cancer and is responsible for a great proportion of people's deaths of pancreatic cancer. So actually understanding the metabolic disorder of cachexia at a molecular or a clinical level would be incredibly welcome, and we would definitely call it treatment in our books as well. So the next kind of FAQ is wondering how we might define interdisciplinary. Specifically, we're using the REF definition, so good old research excellence framework. Love it, I hate it. They do a good definition. So that is, they define interdisciplinary research as involving significant interactions between two or more disciplines, or moving beyond established disciplinary collaborations to achieve outcomes, new approaches that could not be realized within the framework of a single discipline. I mean, that's got a committee written all over it to put up with that, but I think it's a really good definition. But generally, we thought we'd give you some examples that might help in order to understand the kind of things. And we kind of think of the interdisciplinary natures, maybe 4 different ways of thinking about it. So the first one is really thinking about similar approaches but different perspectives. So people who researchers using the same techniques, in the lab with your cells or with preclinical models with mice or whatever they may be. But really, we're wanting to see the interdisciplinary relationship build with, say, for example here, tumor microenvironment specialist in pancreatic cancer, really specialist understanding and knowledge, perhaps combining it with someone who is disease agnostic and looks at cell senescence or programmed cell death, and using that interface between the specialism and the non-special and non-condition specific to really bring new insights into how, like, we work in the tumor microenvironment and how cell senescence and apoptosis particularly affecting that area. So that's an example of kind of similar approaches, different perspectives, different fields and sectors, but similar perspectives. So this is people who agree that there's a problem. So for example, here I used like a clinician in pancreatic cancer with an engineer, both knowing that the delivery of chemotherapy is a real challenge. And so they're both working in the same area, but they work in completely different sectors and different fields and approaches. But together they can really crack the issue of drug delivery, for example, in pancreatic cancer. So that's different fields with different fields, but similar perspectives. We want people who are thinking about similar approaches, have a similar sector, but a new context. So this is the kind of, I suppose, the gateway drug kind of the section. This is a pancreatic cancer specialist holding the hand and like kind of attracting the attentions of another specialist from another condition or another cancer type. So to bring someone who has great specialisms in other area, in other, like say in this example, breast cancer, into the world of pancreatic cancer and working with that PC specialist and bringing the knowledge gained in other disease contexts and bringing them to bear into the benefit of pancreatic cancer. And the last one is kind of having both PC specialists, but a more holistic approach. So this one I kind of dub as the meeting friends. So it's those researchers that constantly meet at like an AACR or a research forum, those symposium at Cambridge and in Barts and Beatson, who are both deep in the world of pancreatic cancer, but kind of taking up different sections of the issue. And actually, now's the time to bring together their own specialisms in order to have a more holistic approach towards understanding how we treat pancreatic cancer. So taking on the complexities and reflecting that in the research proposal that they do and going forward. So I would say that all of that is, I would reiterate that any of that kind of thing, whether it be the defining interdisciplinary, defining what is treatment, defining the nature of other bits and pieces, please come and talk to us. Please come and ask these questions, use the letter of intent. The final one is kind of asking about, we think that we might get a few people who says like, can me and my long-standing collaborator actually apply? And the answer is no, not really, because the job is done. So if you've got a long-standing collaborator, that's really what we want the outcome of the interdisciplinary treatment grants to be, that you actually that you have developed such a rich, long-standing relationship that you can go on to program grants and all kinds of things like that. So really, if you've got that collaborator that you work with loads with, then great, job's done. Good on you, Godspeed. We'll like write you a letter of support for your next program grant to the MRC. But this is really about, this award is particularly about allowing you to start or develop those very early collaborations that you have with these different people. So it's really not about progressing already very worked up collaborations. If you know that you want to do something and you feel that there's someone out in the community that you would particularly benefit from collaborating with on these awards, we're really happy to do some matchmaking for any new relationships that you want to make. So do use us. The caveat is that we can put you together, but we can't force a relationship. So we'll just put that up front, that we don't mind doing the matchmaking, but we can't guarantee the fact that you'll be able to progress towards putting a proposal into the ITG. And really, like, collaboration comes in all different shapes and forms. It can be from, someone that you work with from across the country, someone in a different country or in one of the different nations. They could be on the other side of the city that you work in, or the hospital that your research institute is associated with, or genuinely it can be someone from down the hall that you've always wanted to work with, but you've never been able to quite get something to work for you. We believe that it comes in all different shapes and forms. So really, don't feel limited in about who you collaborate with. We want you to build new collaborations. We want you to bring different fields, sectors, opinions, and perspectives together on particular issues that challenge research and, by extension, people with pancreatic cancer. Again, if you ever got a question about this stuff, put it in a letter of intent or come and talk to us before you put their letter of intent in. Really, we want you to have a dialogue with us as you put in proposals and develop them into the interdisciplinary treatment grants. So some final reminders, the award is now open. The documents are now available. I'm sure everyone got their emails this morning that will send you to the right page on our website. It officially doesn't close for ages. So 13th of June, remember that you have loads and loads of time in order to find people, to put in your letter of intent, to reflect on your feedback from the letter of intent, and write a really great full proposal for us. So you've got lots of time. Please use like the meetings in the year to be able to come and meet and plan those that proposals. We really love it if you could also use the research forum in May in Liverpool on the 20th and the 21st. And we'll be able to allow you to kind of do the kind of come together and discuss your letters of intent or your research proposal at that stage as well. And I'm going to say it again finally, because it really is really important. Do talk to us. Use the letter of intent. Use our research inbox. Come and find us, because this, like I said, is new to us. We really believe in what we are trying to achieve with the interdisciplinary treatment grants, and we really believe that a great section of the community will really benefit from these. But we are learning. This is new, and we're all trying this for the first time. So as such, we really want to have a dialogue with you to work out exactly how we communicate and make you feel reassured that you are aligning to the strategic focus of the ITGs. Lastly, to say, best of luck. It's going to be a long time before we see any of the kind of applications come through. That's fine. But like, if you like I say, we really believe in these awards. We really want to see the convergence of early detection with new treatment options and new treatment targets. We believe this community is on the way to do that, and this is simply a way to catalyze those relationships in order to converge us on these important issues to people with pancreatic cancer. So I'm going to stop there. I am going to allow Vicky to say if there's any questions, and if not, I'll let you all have half an hour back of your lives. But Vicky, is there anything on the Q&A?
No, nothing at the moment.
Nothing.
Just to mention actually that we don't actually have a Q&A function. So if you do have a question, could you just pop it in the chat, please?
Lol. I really shouldn't have said that at the beginning and should have checked with the technology beforehand. So all of you were looking for a Q&A that didn't exist. That's lucky that we have such a long time between now and the submissions, and that we have a letter of intent, because actually, even if our inability to have a research question, well done, Shalini, research question in the webinar, you can still do it with us through the letter of intent. So I'm just going to read this from Shalini, and I appreciate you backing me up here, Shalini, because that made me look really stupid. Early career researchers definitely can apply. You don't have to be in a tenured position in your host institute. We really welcome early career researchers applying to us in any context, and we're delighted to see them through the interdisciplinary treatment grants. Remember, though, it's always good to have someone with that expertise to be able to kind of maybe reassure or assuage the insecurities of peer reviewers. When an early career researcher sometimes steps out on their own, it can be really good for a peer reviewer and a panel member just to see that someone's got you back in terms of their expertise in the field. So yeah, more than welcome, Shalini. It would be a privilege to see an application from you guys in Cambridge. Laura, do both PIs need to be employed by the host institute? Nope. In fact, that's absolutely fine. We envisage that most people will probably be from different host institutes in order to bring people together. But it also doesn't matter. You can be in the same institute. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, it could be between scientists and clinicians. It's whatever you believe is the greatest value in kind of the greatest value in terms of progressing the interdisciplinary proposal that you're putting towards us. So please don't think inside the box. Think about who is the best person to help you answer the question that you're trying to answer. And if that person is a clinician from a different host institute or wherever that may be, then that's perfect. Lynn, what are the expected technology readiness levels for start and end of the engineering clinical projects? So I think it is like, I would say that like I suppose they would probably be limited by the amount of funding available and the duration that's available to you. You would have to, I suppose, recognize that if something was a technology readiness level that was far down the road, you would need a lot more money than we're able and capable of providing to you to progress it into the space that it needs to go next. So I'd say have a reflection on the amount of money that you are able to draw from and the durations, and then put it in a letter of intent and then talk to us, because that's the opportunity that you have there. Hui Ling, is there a limitation of applications from institute or university? No, we never have any limitations from anyone, from any host institute, no matter where they are in the UK. We know that host institutes sometimes do have an internal triage to ensure that there's not 7 or 8 of you putting into an application at any one time. But like, really, we do not mind if it all comes from the same host institute and they're all really great, then that's on us to fund them. We are not in a position where we can be choosy. We pick the best quality. If the best quality comes from one host institute, then that's what we'll do. Patrick, I'm really pleased that everyone is using the chat function, by the way. I apologize for that earlier. Hi, Patrick. Are PIs, co-PIs able to submit multiple different grants, one focused on early phase research, exploring and developing new treatment potentials, another on discovery clinical? Yep. Yes. I would say that you probably can't do I would say that probably you could be I don't think you can be more than one PI, but you can certainly be like you would probably say maybe collaborator or things like that, work out the combinations that work for you. I would say that we don't usually allow for someone to be like the lead applicant in more than one application, though. Again, Patrick, you can always come to us and talk about your proposals or the different combinations of proposals that you might choose to put towards us for the interdisciplinary treatment grant. Cool. Right, I think that's it for us. No more. Oh, Bernard, you got in there. Hi, Bernard. Is it known how many awards are likely to be made? Yes, I think, well, yeah, I always hated it when someone kept this coin. We have currently a minimum of 3. We can do a minimum of 3 applications at 330,000. I reserve the right to potentially increase that at some stage. However, we do have the budget for a minimum of 3 currently, 3 teams, interdisciplinary teams, to be able to be awarded. Like I say, I reserve the right for that to vary slightly, but it should only vary up rather than it vary down, unless something really bad happens in the charity, which again, I hold the right to hold in case that happens as well. If there's any other questions quickly while I wrap up, just to say thank you again for taking the time. Thank you for your questions, even though I told you not to put them in chat. You've been putting them in chat, which is really helpful. Thank you very much. And I will say, finally, come and talk to us. Use your letter of intent in order to help you. I think it's a really great thing that we've kind of brought in. I think be useful for us all. We're not scary. It's just me. It's Vicky. It's Mandy. It's Charlotte. Like, we're really happy to chat with you about all of this and help you steer towards the most effective proposals that really do drive new treatments for people with pancreatic cancer. With that, thank you very much, and we can't wait to see your proposals. Bye now.